What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Justin Henry here, still donning my Laker hat even after a L last night to the Nuggets. We'll get into that and a lot more. It's Wednesday, May 17th. You're here rocking with your boy on the Justin Henry Show live here on the Champions Round YouTube channel. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We got a lot in store for today. Obviously, we got to talk about the loss that was for the Los Angeles Lakers and Denver Nuggets. We'll also talk about the Celtics and Heat, who are getting ready to start up a pretty good Eastern Conference Finals matchup. Should be a good one here, Celtics and Heat. So we'll get into that, talk about the matchups, what we like, dislike, some of the strengths and weaknesses of each team. And then the NBA draft lottery was last night. This has become a spectacle now. Like NBA draft lottery. We're talking about not the actual draft, but the damn picks. We got to watch an entire episode about the picks and who's getting what pick. And it doesn't make any sense, man. Ping pong balls. It's the story of all the craze during the NBA playoffs right before the game. So we'll talk about the draft lottery and obviously Victor Wembanyama. So there's a lot to get into. Also want to get into some NFL. Devontae Adams had some comments that came out. And so I really want to touch on that too. My opinion on, players and taking on new circumstances and, having a voice in an organization, because a lot of times organizations don't want you to speak out. Get into that in a little bit, but it's hump day, man. So you might even see some crazier topics on here. There's some wild times, you never know. So I don't know who's going to be stepping on the show today. You might see a nobody, it might be a solo show, might be a guest or two. So let's get into this though, because I got to address this myself. With or without anybody else, I got to talk about last night's game. Game 1, Los Angeles Lakers play the Denver Nuggets. The final score was not indicative of how it was for most of the first half. The final score, 132-126. Nuggets got the win. This was really a story outlined by a tale of two halves. First half, Denver Nuggets rolling all over the Los Angeles Lakers. It was a mismatch for a good 24 minutes of the game. This was a mismatch, even a little bit further than that as well. But the Denver Nuggets up over 20 points in the first half. Nikola Jokic balled out, had a double-double within the first 8 minutes of the game, which is crazy, right? Nikola Jokic playing at a level, obviously this is what he's played at the entire season, all these MVP years, but he looks locked in right now. And, it took a little minor adjustment for the Los Angeles Lakers to have a chance in the game last night. Rui Hachimura, Darvin Ham decided to put him on Jokic and let AD kind of roam around defensively, and it turned the tide. It really did for this entire series. The Lakers might have found something with Rui Hachimura playing against Jokic. So there's elite level defenders on this Laker team, Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, AD, but now schematically it's going to be, how do these teams adjust? Obviously, Mike Malone's not going to let that happen in game 2. They're going to try to find ways to get Jokic on AD or in better spots. But this could be a revelation, at least for the Lakers here in the short term. Now, is Roy going to get the starting minutes? Is he going to come in off the bench a little bit earlier? That all remains to be seen. But in order for the Lakers team to have a chance, I'm saying this, I talk very highly of the Lakers. In order for them to have a chance this series, they've got to figure out something with Rui every single game to get him more involved, at least right now, before things are going on. LeBron James, AD. Fine, right? They played the games that they were supposed to. AD dropping 40 defensively in the second half was a monster as well. And then also LeBron James. Look, year 20, we can't really ask much more outside of hitting some clutch shots that he did miss in the game last night. So also a bad free throw miss from LeBron James. But this game could have been anybody's in the fourth quarter. We saw Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic both hit some crazy three-pointers. I think the Lakers still win this series. Right? Nuggets are now even more favored to win this series, but I still think the Lakers can get the job done. Game 2 has historically been LeBron James's game. 37-14 in his career in game 2s, and he's only had 2 series in his entire career. 2 series in his entire career where he did not get a road win. I think there's a sense of urgency when LeBron James, especially when he's playing underdog, knowing that he has to get a road win. And this is the time to do it. The Los Angeles Lakers, game 2, absolutely need this win. They figured something out. So until the Nuggets figure it out, they have the upper hand, even though they took the L game 1. They'll be heading back to LA. If you're a Laker fan, this is as must win as it gets. As must win as it gets. And if I'm on the Denver side, I'm kind of looking at it the same way. They fought back in the second half, escaped. The Nuggets escaped with the win. This is a different game. Game 2 is of the utmost importance. They got to get it dialed in. Now, obviously, we'll talk game 2 a little bit more tomorrow, but this is a game that LeBron typically will play well. I expect a huge performance out of LeBron, who's quietly been scoring a little bit more than he has in before, when he got injured, his production tailed off a little bit. We're seeing the old LeBron now. Outside of, like I said, some missed shots there in the clutch, LeBron looks like LeBron now. Jokic is going to continue to play at a high level, but this Denver bench got to step up. It feels like their rotation got a little bit tighter. We didn't see a lot of the bench players playing a bigger role like we've seen. So I want to see some of these bench players for the Nuggets step up a little bit as well in game 2. If they're going to have a chance at winning game 2 and going into LA up with the 2-0 lead. Austin Reeves. I want to shout out Austin Reeves, man, for a big fourth quarter. That kid has ice in his veins. My goodness, Austin Reeves. When I watch Austin Reeves play, nothing really truly excites me. I'm like, man, he looks kind of mediocre. There's a lot of players like him in the league, like a lot of 3 and D slashers, but the kid has so much grit. The kid hits big shots, and you can't teach that. So he's up for a big payday here soon, and I think he gets it. I'm not sure he stays with the Lakers, but Austin Reeves is definitely writing his own price right now. He's going to hop into free agency and have a very big number this offseason. So shout out to Austin Reeves for really putting things together here this postseason, especially. We also have a new series starting up. And I know if y'all get bored of me today, sorry. My voice, I'm a little under the weather still. My throat been hurting. So, you know what I'm saying? If y'all get bored of me, I don't blame you today. I'm going to try to keep it entertaining. But my energy levels are just a little bit lower than normal. I'm on Benadryl, on Dayquil, allergy medicine out here in California. The pollen is all in the air. Allergy medicine, Zyrtec. I'm on a little cocktail right now, a little prescription cocktail. So don't mind me if I'm a little bit off. But this series has got me hyped, though. I ain't going to lie. Heat, Celtics. This should be a fun series. We've seen these two teams already battle it out twice in the last 3 years in the conference finals. The Heat and the Celtics. And the Celtics are favored a little bit earlier on in the series, and nobody's really giving the Heat a chance. I don't think that's fair. There was a stat out there that said the Celtics are 97% favorites to win this series. 97. There's only 3% chance that the Heat win this series. A 3. Now, this is coming from a team that was the 8 seed from the depths and the shadows of the Eastern Conference. This Miami Heat team has crawled and beat the number 1 seed. They have beat the up-and-coming Knicks, who look like they had a star in their hands with Jalen Brunson. They beat that team, and now here they are yet again in the Eastern Conference Finals, headed towards the same path that they were in the bubble, right? This is the exact same scenario. A lot of people writing off the Heat. I'm not wanting to do that yet, but I do believe in this Celtics team. The Boston Celtics are ready. I think they're ready to make the move. We've seen them struggle a little bit with the Sixers. And this team does this, right? They're up and down. They're inconsistent. Times that we think they're going to win, they fall. And then times when their back's against the wall, they seem to play at their best, right? Down 3-2 to the Sixers, I think this team found something. They found a little grit. And Jayson Tatum, his emergence, man, you're dropping 51 in a game 7. It shows me the signs that you're making that next step. And then defensively, he's been all over the place as well. When you talk about Jayson Tatum in a tough matchup up against Jimmy Butler and this Heat team, this is a scenario where he thrives. We've seen it before. A block away with Bam Adebayo, a block away from making a great game-winning dunk in the bubble playoffs. Like, this team has been able to handle this Heat team in the past with the wing defenders that the Celtics have, the scoring prowess of the entire team, the development. Robert Williams coming in late into that Sixers series and starting to get increased minutes has helped defensively as well. I think this Celtics team handles business, and this isn't a slight at the Miami Heat, which I think that the odds right now against them are a little bit of a slight. I do think the Celtics are the better team. They're the deeper team, and they're able to handle it a little bit easier than the Heat can. The Miami Heat, Now, although Jimmy Butler has had incredible performances this entire playoff series, right? And I mean, this entire playoff run, he was a little slowed down by the ankle injury. No 30-point games in the series against the Knicks. Now, was that the pace, right? Was that the defenders that were on him? The pacing was slowed down a little bit, but that I can also attribute a little bit of that to the ankle injury. Do I think Jimmy's going to have one of them Jimmy games this series? He's going to have to. In order for the Celtics to have a chance, he's going to have to, right? But I think that this team needs somebody else to step up. We've seen Bam play pretty well in that decisive game against the Knicks. We've seen, Caleb Martin step up at times. We've seen all these other players kind of have inconsistent. Kyle Lowry, Kevin Love. Who's going to step up and be that consistent player for the Heat that can ride alongside Jimmy Butler and bring kind of what Tyler Hero was bringing, that extra 15 to 20 points consistently that we haven't really seen from anybody else on this team. So in order for them to have a chance against the Celtics in this series, which, they do, it's just I think the Celtics handle business. But in order for the Heat to win this series, they absolutely need a second piece to be consistent throughout this entire series. Kyle Lowry was kind of been that piece so far. Who's going to be the guy that steps up for the Heat? Is it going to be a Gabe Vincent? Is it going to be Bam being more consistent? That will be the key to know. Also, I want to predict this series out, and I mentioned how tough this Heat team is. I mentioned how the Celtics team is riding in hot right now. I'm going to give the Celtics the win in this series. And like I mentioned, I think the Heat have a lot to bring to the table. Defensively, there'll be a problem. But both of these teams have been inconsistent at times, road and at home. Both of these teams have been inconsistent at times, playing at a sustained level for the entire, stretch run of games. I think the Celtics are locked in on the finals. I know the Heat are as well. I'm not underestimating these guys. But when I think of this Celtics team is ready to kind of put their foot on the necks of the Heat and get to the finals. Celtics in 5. I think they take care of their first 2 home games, steal one on the road in Miami, go in game 5, get the win, sign, seal, delivered. Celtics are going to the finals, in my opinion. That's where I got this one, Celtics. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Who you guys got, Celtics or Heat? It should be a fun series, though, man. I think we're going to get some incredible moments out of it. Also, we have the draft lottery. It's fun. Yeah, you see the hat. It's fun when we have the draft lottery. It's fun when the Lakers are playing. Right before the Laker game, we get to see the draft lottery. I miss those days, right? We're not worried about the balls, which way the ping pong balls are bouncing. We get some. I don't have to worry about that, right? But for Spurs fans, Pistons fans, Rockets fans, Blazers fans, all those teams who were tanking for Victor Wembanyama, it all came to a head yesterday. We found out the Spurs are getting the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. And boy, Greg Popovich does it again, right? Got David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and now Victor Wembanyama, generational prospect, 7'4" with guard-like skills. I actually had a chance with my buddy Marcus Graves. Shout out to Marcus Graves. Plays for the G League Ignite. He played for the G League Ignite team this past season. They played against the Metropolitan 95s, right? They played against them and had a chance to describe what it was like playing against Victor Wembanyama. And he said, it's one of those things where you don't have an opportunity ever in your life to see somebody that massive that can move like a guard. Like, when you go play those pickup runs at your local gym, your 24-hour fitness, Lifetime Fitness, wherever you may hoop at. You go and you play against some little shifty guards, the ones that are really tough to cover unless you are that shifty guard, right? They're really hard to cover. The quick, nice twitch. They'll pull up at any time. He said, Victor Wembanyama at 7'4" has that same skill set, which is crazy to hear. He doesn't play it's not like KD. It's not like Porzingis. This is an entirely brand new skill set. So very exciting stuff to see the Spurs get super lucky. They were tied with the best odds with the Pistons and the Rockets to win the draft lottery. And sure enough, Victor Wembanyama is going to be a San Antonio Spurs. There's a lot of great history, too, with the San Antonio Spurs. Tony Parker, Boris Diaw, both played for France. So Victor Wembanyama was really excited. They showed like the coverage of his house. We're getting this at the draft lottery, which is crazy to me. Like, this isn't the draft. This is the draft lottery. We got cameras covering Victor Wembanyama's expressions, when every team pops up. And he was super happy when the Spurs came up. There was one team, though, he was happy they didn't get the pick, right? We saw the Houston Rockets. Kind of look like, thankfully it's not there, right? But for the Spurs, it seems like he's going to be passionate about playing for this organization. And I'm sure we're going to get over the next month an entire look at how he's going to be able to impact this franchise. So shout out to the San Antonio Spurs locking in that number 1 pick. I don't like to see it because these Western Conference teams getting stronger. I ain't with it. But, shout out to the Spurs. They're going to get another potential. We're going to put them on that Hall of Fame arc already here because the generational prospect, Hall of Fame arc, we got to put it there until we see some kind of thing that shows us it doesn't happen, right? Injuries or whatever happens. I know he's got to play a career, but shout out to Victor Wembanyama as well. Let's get into some NFL real quick, man. I'll get back to some NBA. There's some other NBA stuff I want to cover. But let's get into some NFL real quick. I was reading an article, right? If y'all don't know me, man, so obviously what I do in my spare time is I'm looking at everything NBA, NFL, sports related, right? So not only am I somebody who talks about sports, analyzes, provides predictions, whatever, statistics, fantasy advice, betting advice, I'm reading. I like reading. I like soaking in content. I like to, this thing's always working, man. But I like reading sports articles, player perspectives, coach perspective, local media perspective. So I try to get a little bit better insight, help with, whatever bets, fantasy leagues that I'm in. This is all, I feel like it all works cohesively, right? I was reading an article on The Ringer about Davante Adams, man. And, one of the comments that drew me into the article was him saying he didn't see eye to eye with a lot of the moves that the Raiders are making this offseason, right? As somebody who kind of forced his way out of Green Bay to the Raiders to go play with his boy Derek Carr, to see Derek Carr shipped out, Darren Waller shipped out, you start to get the vibe like this isn't really championship aspirations for the Las Vegas Raiders, right? Which is understandable for a team that probably does want to go through some sort of rebuild here in the near future. The organization obviously feels otherwise. They feel like they're ready to compete. But when you start to look around the AFC and you see the Chiefs, you see the Chargers, you see Sean Payton going to the Broncos in your own division, not to mention Aaron Rodgers coming to the AFC. You got Lamar Jackson getting locked up in the AFC to a 5-year deal. Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson's already been added. Trevor Lawrence is starting to show his ascension. The Bills, the Dolphins, like there's so many teams in the AFC. Davante Adams, he's in the, coming towards the end of his prime. He said he wants to win a championship, and he just signed a 5-year deal with this Raider team. The moves they're making ain't adding up. And to see a player actually voice that, like, hey, I'm not one with the organization right now, when we've been so taught by a lot of the star players that they're media trained. Hey, I'm going to do what's best for the organization. They'll kind of say, oh, coach, whatever the coach has me to, wants us to do, we want to execute that to the fullest. I trust the team. I trust the coaches. I trust the guys up front in the front office. That's typically what's said. But out of Davante Adams' mouth, we're getting, I don't see eye to eye. And so does Davante feel like he has leverage? This is a very interesting tidbit. And I think what Davante Adams is trying to do is let this organization know, like, hey, I'm trying to win now. These aren't the pieces that get us to winning now. And you hear me voicing, my boy A-Rod, he was doing the same thing in Green Bay for a while. And it got to a point where I got tired of begging and I asked for my way out. I think this is a warning shot to the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll see you guys for a year. Let's see how this thing works. We don't make the playoffs, though. I'm going to be an upset dude next year in the 3rd year of my deal, and I'm still going to be one of the elite receivers in the game. I'm going to start forcing some hands. This is a warning shot to the Raiders front office. I know they're trying to bring in Tom Brady as part of ownership, part of have a stake in the team. That ain't going to be enough. If this team doesn't win games, I think they're on the cusp of losing Davante Adams, who clearly thinks he's elite, the best receiver in the league without Aaron Rodgers. He said that in the article as well. He said, this proves that I don't need Aaron Rodgers in order to be the best receiver in the game. And that was a thought from that he needed to feel being on the Raiders with Derek Carr. So I don't know, fantasy-wise, listen, I love Davante Adams. I think he is the best receiver in the game. But fantasy-wise, I have my concerns about Jimmy G and Davante Adams' value. I think Davante Adams is going to be more of that mid-tier wide receiver one, unfortunately, due to volume. That remains to be seen. We'll see what the offseason looks like. But I want to bring it, I've been talking a little bit, and I told you I'm dealing with this, you know what I'm saying? I got some hot tea right here. Shout out to the hot tea. And this is the best dad ever cup. Shout out to my boys for giving me that. But I got to bring in my guy, Nick Durst, to give me a little bit of extra commentary on some other topics, including this Davante Adams thing. The producer, Nick Durst, who also hosts You Know I'm Right, the podcast. Also, you can find him on Better Sports Network. Ain't just a producer. My man does it all. Nick Durst in the building, not related to Fred. How you doing?
What's up, Justin? We're just going to keep on rolling here along. And I think Davante Adams, he's wishing he was a New York Jet. Surprised he hasn't requested a trade yet. He's probably regretting leaving Rodgers now, but maybe not because he got the money. And that's what a lot of these athletes are all about.
It would not surprise me if he's like in a year from now, like, hey, I'm requesting a trade to the Jets or some other elite quarterback. But I can see that, or the Saints. Like, hey, I want to go to the Saints now, But Davante, man, what do you think about that? Because players normally don't speak out like that. And players that do normally get shipped off pretty quickly. This is a guy that the Raiders obviously are invested in. He's the face of the franchise right now. You think it's a power move by Davante Adams, or you just think he's just speaking his mind?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. He's like, let me speak my mind because I have the power here in the sense that I'm the best player on the team, I'm the star of the team. You guys just brought me here last year. I came here to play with my college roommate, Derek Carr. Now he's gone. I didn't even get to play with him the whole season, so he's definitely not happy. I'm sure he's not happy with the way everything played out. And he sees what's going on in his division, and he's like, well, I don't think we're going to be winning here anytime soon. I don't know. I mean, so far in his career, it doesn't look like Josh McDaniels is a head coach that is going to have success. They're bringing Sean Payton to the Broncos. Let's run it back. But I don't know. I don't think the Broncos are going to be able to pull anything off here. The Chargers they're going to be in the mix again, and the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. So
right,
at best, you're the third best team in the division. And that means you're looking for a wild card. And that's going to be tough because the Ravens are going to be better this year. If Jackson plays, you got Odell Beckham Jr. The Bengals are still going to be great. The Steelers, they barely missed the playoffs last year. And now his second year of Pickett, a full training camp and off season of him knowing what he's doing as the quarterback. You're going to have Deshaun Watson for a full season there. The Bills are still going to be good. Patriots and Dolphins are in the mix. And you got the Jets. So he's probably looking around and he's like, we are probably like one of the 5 worst teams in the AFC.
They're closer to the number 1 seed than they are, the number 1 pick, than they are to a playoff team. Like, unfortunately, he's right. And as one of the best receivers in the game, he knows the clock is ticking for his career. Right. And you're stuck with when you see Jimmy G signing a 3-year deal, it's Jimmy G bridge to another quarterback. I'm not playing with another elite quarterback anytime soon. I think Davante is like, you know what? I got to get this thing right, man. And so unfortunately for him, it's not going to be, I don't think this is one of those Davante Adams years. And this is probably, we're coming up on probably the last 2-3 years that is really being Davante Adams' prime career. Now, what are your thoughts on this Heat team, man? I don't know if you had a chance to check. I know you checked out the Heat, obviously playing your Knicks. The Heat going into Boston today, game 1. This series is going to be crazy, man. I think this is going to be a very intense series. Both of these teams have the ability to really turn it up a notch, especially here in the playoffs. The Heat, we know for sure that Heat culture reigns supreme when it comes to playoff runs. What's your expectation for this series overall?
Well, I think Jimmy Butler is going to be incredible in this series. No surprise there. And if Gabe Vincent and the boys continue to just make a million 3-pointers, and Kevin Love is throwing all these outlet passes from under the rim for easy breakaways, I think the Celtics are going to have some troubles here. I don't see why they're like being so heavily favored. Do they have more depth? I don't know. I mean, look at the 6 undrafted free agents on the Heat team here, and they're doing incredible stuff. It seems like Tyler Hero is maybe getting close to coming back. I don't think he's going to come back this series. Maybe he plays in the finals, but they haven't needed him so far. Kyle Lowry's turning back the clock. He's looking great. And I don't know. I get a feeling that this Heat team is just going to figure out a way to do it.
Now, normally it's one of those things where you're like, you could feel kind of like the Heat, right? You can feel like there's a chance that these guys are going to ink it out. But it's like the odds, all the odds are like this is going to be over in 5.
Right.
All the odds are like the Celtics are going to dog them, right? But we saw this with the Hawks as well. The Celtics were massively favored against the Hawks. It went 6. We saw this against the Sixers. Celtics were massively favored. It ended up being a point where the Sixers were actually favored in the series when they were up 3-2. Shout out to Doc Rivers, right? But then also it got to a point now we're looking at it, and this Heat team has been cast away the entire season. This isn't the same Heat team. They're in the play-in. Oh, they lost the game in the play-in. Oh, they're up against the Bucks, number 1 team. Oh, now they're up against the Knicks, who've been playing well. And here we are yet again, this team in the Eastern Conference Finals. Give me your final prediction on it. What's your final prediction, dog? Like,
I don't got to say the Heat win it in 7.
Heat in 7.
Heat in 7. I think it's going to go the distance. I don't think
on the road in Boston.
On the road in Boston, Jimmy Butler closes it out, locks down Jayson Tatum, and leads the Heat to victory. I think the Celtics in this series, for them to advance and do it kind of easily, you need to make Jaylen Brown the primary offensive guy in this series, because Jayson Tatum's going to get his, but it's not going to be easy with Jimmy Butler on him. So I think you got to try to
dropping 51. We're going to have Tatum drops 51, and you come on this show and you say, I need Jaylen Brown to be the main scorer.
Who was he dropping 51 on? He wasn't dropping to Jimmy Butler.
Hey, but Jimmy Butler might be on Jaylen Brown. That's the thing about the size that Jayson Tatum carries.
I think if the game is in the line, the ball's going to be in Marcus Smart's hands. So I don't know how that's going to play out.
Marcus dumb. Speaking of dumb things, we got a new Sports Illustrated cover.
Oof.
We got a Sports Illustrated cover, and it's not the one that I'll be purchasing. I'll just tell you that. Snoop Dogg might be purchasing it because Martha Stewart, 81-year-old Martha Stewart, shout out to Martha Stewart who makes a mean meal, is on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I call myself an old guy, right? I'm starting to get grays now. I've been through a lot in my day. I was born in the 80s, so I could start to say, hey, I'm the older generation. But Nick, I still ain't checking for no damn Martha Stewart Sports Illustrated, bro.
Swimsuit edition.
Yo, hey, they had to put the filters or something on it, though, dog. Like, you going to buy it this weekend or what?
No, I never have bought it ever, and this isn't gonna entice me here. The cover should have been like Martha Stewart, like in there, like covering herself up with a turkey as she's putting it in the oven or something, because I just don't know. They're just
herself
direction now where it's like, let's just go like the biggest shock factor possible and maybe people buy magazines, but nobody buys magazines anymore.
I mean, back when I was growing up, it was like Tyra Banks, right? I'm like, okay, Tyra, 9-10-year-old me was like Tyra Banks, and then I know they like Kate Upton, and it started to get a little bit more progressive now, but
yeah,
I'm not an ageist.
Last year or 2 years ago.
You said who 2 years ago?
Kim Kardashian. I think she was on.
Kim, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's figures that could be on Sports Illustrated. I just wouldn't have guessed or expected it to be Martha Stewart. I ain't gonna lie. If you'd have told me it was
the oldest cover,
HGN, HGTV, I'd have been like, cool. But Sports Illustrated, I can't even make the connection to sports. Speaking of other stuff I don't know a whole lot about, PGA Championship starts this week. Shout out to our other shows here. We're going to get you right for the PGA Championship. Make sure you guys check out Small's show. They're going to be talking on going live, making predictions for the PGA Championship this week. So make sure you guys are locked in here on the Champions Round YouTube channel. We got more PGA Championship coverage coming your way, including predictions, winners, etc. So make sure y'all hit the follow button, the subscribe button, man. But PGA Championship starts this week. Only name I know is Tiger, bro. It's been that long since I watched golf, man. I know Ricky Fowler.
Mickelson.
Yeah, lefty. I'm good with some of these names, bro. But who do you've been tapped in at all with golf? You know who's about to win, or? So
from everything I've heard about this course, if you're playing DFS or fantasy, take those top names and then just kind of forget about it, because the way this course plays, it's not necessarily going to play to the favorite. It's all about who could kind of drive it long and straight. So it's kind of a crapshoot from what I've been hearing in this, but the big names to keep an eye on, I guess, are John Ram. He won the Masters.
He won the Masters, yeah.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy. He's always in the mix, but he never seems to win. And there's other Brooks Koepka and all them. So They're not in it because they're in Live. So, the rival. So, I don't know. The name people say to watch is Scotty Scheffler. So, we'll see
Scotty
how it
Scheffler.
plays out.
We'll see for sure. Yeah, Roy McIlroy, that's another one of my guys. I feel like he's always there, but like I'm like, I don't know if he's actually going to win this one. But yeah, I wish I followed a little bit heavier. I play golf. I used to play a lot more until I hurt my wrist. But
when I go to
you talk about long and straight. That was me on a drive. I ain't gonna lie. 300 right now.
When I go to drive the ball, I miss it. I can't hit it. So I'm gonna make.
You can't hit it. You can't hit the little tiny ball, man.
When I go, I can't hit it.
You gotta work on your strength. Hey, we'll get out there on the course, bro. I'll get you right. I'll get you right on the course. You gotta keep that elbow straight. I see you bending the elbow a little bit.
Mini golf guy. I gotta say, I need some lessons, perhaps.
You need some lessons from me, Jayhen. I got you. I'm a pro, not an amateur, a pro. You can find me in the pro shop. So I'll get you right, man. I'll get you right on the putts. I'll get you right on the long drive. Hey, 300 straight. That's what I got. But then around the green, terrible. Everything's bouncing over, flying over. My sandwich game ain't proper.
So on the drives, you're like Wembenyama. Like you're
Wembenyama on the drives. Wembenyama on the drives. Elite. They, I got a thicker frame, right? Like I'm 6'4", got big calves, big thighs. Like you see me, I'm a bigger guy, right? In person, a lot of people don't think that. And then they see me in person like, this is a big dude, right? But my drives are mean, bro. I'm telling you, my drives, they come up and they're like, oh, this guy's going to be one of those hurlers. I got a really fast swing, right? Super fast, a lot of hip, a lot of thrust, but it goes straight. I know where it's going, and it's going 300, anywhere between 280 and 300. I know that for a fact. So get out there on the court. But I struggle. You talked about like how this course for the PGA Championships a little bit harder because you can't predict it. That's where I struggle. Anything that bends, we got a lot of dog legs. Wrap it up. Jayhen's shooting 100 that day. So
when's the last time you've been golfing?
Last time I went golfing up in Quincy, California. This is the last time I went. They have a nice course up there. I played about a year and a half ago. I think I shot like a 90, and I hadn't played golf in a while there. So drive is good. It's just the rest of the game's kind of suspect.
I don't know if you saw this recently. There was some course in Florida, and someone they hit the ball like close to the water, and there was like a 6-foot alligator right next to the ball. I would have been like, I'm done playing.
I tapped out. I'm just reaching my bag, grabbing another ball, and dropping that thing, man. There's always a guy on the course. Nope, play it as it lies, right? Like Happy Gilmore, play it as it lies. But they're legit. If you play in a foursome, there's always one. I kid you not. There's always one person who's played as it lies. Oh, you got to play it. Like really taking scores, strokes. I'm like, come on, man. We out here. We playing. None of us are professional. None of us are getting paid. There's always one stickler, though. And that person's always the worst. Always the worst player. Never fails, man. We got a comment came in. Joe, what's good? He said, it's always Nick with the elbow. Same thing on our softball team. Come on, man. Gotta straighten it out a little bit, bro.
Justin, our softball team, the Almighty Ducks, 7-0-1 on this season in first place. I went 5 for 7 batting wise last game, so I think I'm okay with the elbow.
5 for 7. I'm cool. Shout out to Joe Calabrese. I don't know how to say his last name. He probably gonna kill me for that.
It's all good.
Calabrese. I ain't gonna butcher
it. I like that. Like Calabasas.
Yo. Speaking of another J name, Ja Morant got back in the news for the wrong reason. We talked about it already, right? But there is one more aspect of this that we have to talk about. When you do something stupid, when you do something dumb, you got to make it right, at least make people believe that you're sincere about turning things around. Ja Morant released a statement yesterday. I'm not sure it was the best thing to do. This Ja Morant statement reads, I know I've disappointed a lot of people who have supported me. This is a journey, and I recognize there is more work to do. My words may not mean much right now, but I take full accountability for my actions. I'm committed to continuing to work on myself. Now, I've heard Ja Morant talk a few times. It's a parade inside my city, yeah. And we see the actions. The actions ain't lining up to the words there, Nick. That's a different type of word. It almost sounds scripted. Some would say AI generated. Chat
Imagine.
GPT-ish.
He could have. I don't know. You would think he's got a publicist, but maybe not.
He needs somebody. He needs somebody to write that thing for him. That's
Maybe
not
this is his
computer.
friend that took the Instagram live that wrote the comment for him.
His friend would have deleted that because his friend was on top of it. His friend tried to hide it. His friend would have deleted that statement. I'm not sure what he could have done in that situation to make things believable, Nick, because he's already had this statement. And you know what? At that time, I was like, you know what? All right, maybe there's some optimism. He wants to change. He had to sit down with Jalen Rose. I was like, okay, maybe I do believe that, right?
Yeah.
But it's gotten to a point where I'm like, I don't believe this dude until I need to see proof in the pudding. Like, I have to see changes to your environment, changes to who you hang around, changes to the decision making that you have. So, and I don't want to see that for a few months. I don't want to see, I went to rehab, I'm good to start the season. Nah, I need to see you on the shelf for a little bit. I need to see it hurt your pockets a little bit, and I need to see some remorse when you come back.
Right.
More so than I take accountability.
What does a suspension from May through September do? Nothing. He doesn't lose any money. Yeah. The NBA is going to have to, I think, is going to step in and suspend here. Adam Silver said it was very concerning. I don't think this guy's playing basketball in the 2023 calendar year. I think he's going to be out until at least 2024. Suspension.
If I had to guess, just the tone that they asked Adam Silver about it, and the tone was like disappointed father. And I know my kids, I got 3 boys myself, man. And I know there's times where disappointed father leads to like more of a talk, stern, not a huge reprimand. And then there's other times when you talk and your dad, you're like, nah, you messed up, bro. Like, you messed up in a major way. And it sounds like he said, I'm preparing for worst case scenario, which is not bad. That's not good. That's entirely bad. This is going to be at least half a season for John Morant. He's going to miss at least.
If you look at the precedent, remember Gilbert Arenas, like in 2010, I don't know if he had guns in the locker room or something, or he made some sort of shooting gesture.
Yeah, both. He did this, and he had a gun in the locker room.
He was suspended for a full year. So, I mean, that's in the stadium. So,
I think it's at least half a year because, you mentioned that, and this is also not Ja's first offense.
Right.
And it's not just his first offense in a long time. This is recently.
Same year.
Second in 3 months. Same season. The season is still spring. Spring hasn't even left yet. And, he just finished his season 2. It just shows a lot of immaturity on Ja's end. So I hope he gets right, man. I honestly, I hope we're talking about this 30 for 30 in 10, 15 years. John Morant turns around, becomes one of the top players again. We never hear any nonsense from him again. I don't know if that's the way it ends out, but that's what I'm praying for, man. Let's get in. We got one more thing too. Let's get into some Daily Dozen, man. I feel good about today's Daily Dozen. But James Harden is now officially free agent. Breaking news: James Harden intends to be a free agent. The Sixers thought they were already getting rid of Doc Rivers. Maybe it gives a little optimism that James Harden is going to remain on the Sixers. It didn't happen. James Harden is out of there. He's done. He said, I'm done with this experiment. I'm done losing early in the playoffs, and I'm done being the reason that the focal point of the reason why we're losing. James Harden is out of there, and he's decided on two teams is at least he's looking at. The Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns. This is James Harden saying, do I want to get the bag and have fun?
No.
We already know what city that is. Or do I want to go try to win a championship? He's got a real big decision to make because in Phoenix, man, him going with Durant again would send a lot of shots at Kyrie as the reason why he left Brooklyn.
That would also mean the end of Chris Paul in Phoenix. That also
means the end of Chris Paul. I would see probably DeAndre Ayton leaving as well. Probably some kind of sign and trade with those two and Booker and KD staying. So with the new coach there, that's a very good scenario for James Harden, in my opinion. Him, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. But in Houston, bro. Houston. James Harden knows Houston very well. Very well. Very, very well, some would say. James Harden in Houston would be, I think he'd be a lot of 30-point games. I think it'd be a lot of strip club action. A lot of trouble for James Harden, but he'd have a lot of fun. That might be the move for you, boy.
Well, I was hoping Wembanyama was going to go to the Rockets. Again, I saw him with Harden, which would have been cool. I really wanted the Pistons to win the lottery because this city and team is just out of luck. The Spurs, the fix was in, no doubt about it. Robinson, Duncan.
The fix was in, huh?
Fix was in. But, yeah, so the thing with Houston is that not only is he going to get a max deal, but he's not going to pay any state income tax. And that's huge for these players. If he went to Miami or Orlando, it would be the same thing. We'll see what happens with the Heat here. I wouldn't rule out maybe they want to get Harden. They're always taking guys at the end of their careers on the cheap. Phoenix, are we going to roll this back for a third time, Justin, with James Harden and Kevin Durant?
We might have to. It seems like they like playing with each other at least. You know what I mean? At least they like playing together.
They should sign Westbrook too. Or maybe go to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Take Big Perk off of TV, Kendrick Perkins, and bring him out of retirement, huh?
You know what team would be actually a good fit for James Harden? There's a specific team. They were in the playoffs this year, and what they were lacking the most was three-point shooting and just shooting in general. And that's the New York Knicks.
Oh, my gosh. Everybody's going to the Knicks.
The Knicks got to get someone like him. Maybe Kristaps Porzingis, bring him back. The Knicks need shooters. And James Harden, maybe not next year, but the year after, he's just going to be a shooter. Like, he's not going to be this great ball handler like we saw when he was MVP with the Rockets anymore. So it's either go home and take the money or, sign a 2-3 year deal and try.
Knicks about to get some shooting. Knicks about to get some shooting by moving Julius Randle to the West Coast. Up north, the Northwest, getting that guy Dame Lillard out of Portland.
I don't know if the Trailblazers would want Julius Randle. I think they would say, give us the 23-year-old RJ Barrett.
Yeah, probably both. It would take both to get Dame. Look, it's time to play Daily Dozen right now. We're going to get into it. All of it on tonight's game is going to be for the Heat and the Celtics. So, guys, on the Champions Round app, y'all can play Daily Dozen with us. Play free, play paid, $12 to get in. 100 extra money if you get all 12 right. Still struggling to get there, Nick. I've been struggling. I ain't going to lie. Like, we've been trying to get to 12. We've been hitting 6, 7. Tonight's a breakthrough. We're going to hit double digits tonight. I'm calling it out. Double digits tonight, all in the same game. Boston Celtics, total points, 109.5. We going over or under? I'm guessing. I'm taking the over. Boston Celtics, I think they come out hot today.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll go over.
I guess. Nah.
I was leaning more towards under, but I don't know. I guess there's really not much defense usually in these game ones. So
game one, a lot of times they either come out really flat or they come out on fire. It's almost for the home team. It's almost like they're kind of like the Nuggets did yesterday. Came out on fire, things are rocking. I feel like there's a lot of momentum rocking with this Boston team. I'm gonna go over.
Okay.
Next, we got a little typo, it looks like. Boston Celtics total points, 100.5 versus Miami Heat. I'm guessing they're going to ride that as Miami Heat total points, 105 because of the spread. A little bit of a mix-up there. I got to talk to my guys in the background to get that thing fixed. We're going Miami total points over 100.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over. I think they'll go over. There's gonna be a lot of three-pointers shot. And
they haven't been shooting the three ball that well. And Jimmy Butler last series, that was the one thing against the Bucks they really did do well. They shot the three ball well, and then they struggled against the Knicks. So we'll see if that comes back. I went with the over. Lock that in for you. Jayson Tatum double-double. He's hit this, I want to say, in 5 of his last 7 games. Jayson Tatum is going to get a double-double, right? I think for sure they need him to rebound this game. Let's get Jayson Tatum on the double-double. Bam Adebayo on a double-double. Since y'all on the Heat, Heat and 7, Heat going to win game. Who do you got? You got thinking over or under?
We'll go under. I think I'll say under. I think maybe get 9 rebounds or 9 points. I don't think he's gonna get double.
I like that. Like 16 and 9, right? Like not 10, but 9. He's gonna let it make us sweat for it, but we'll get it. Kevin Love. It's an incredible point total. It's up there, Nick. 7.5 for Kevin Love. You love to see it.
Over?
Yeah,
I think he's gonna hit 3 threes.
Oh my gosh, I still want to go under so bad on this.
Go under.
I'm going under. I'm going under on this one. The last time I faded you, I think it worked, but the first time I didn't. I never will forget that. Don't fade Nick Durst. I'll never forget that. Malcolm Brogdon, total points 14.5 against the Heat. This seems like a Malcolm Brogdon number, like he's going to hit 14 or 15 on the dot.
Yep.
You over or under?
Yeah, over.
Over. Let's rock with the over. Gabe Vincent, 3.5 assists. You dropped his name earlier. Shout out to Gabe Vincent. I used to do some coverage for the Stockton Kings a couple years ago. Had Gabe Vincent. I actually interviewed Gabe Vincent on a number of occasions. Gabe Vincent, solid dude, man. Undrafted to the G League. Shout out to Gabe Vincent. But I'm sorry, to the NBA. Gabe Vincent, 3.5 assists. How we looking?
I'm going to say under. He's not much of a passer. He's more of a scorer.
He is a scorer. That's one thing about Gabe. He ain't never seen a shot he didn't like. Marcus Smart, a.k.a. I'm going to stop making fun of your name, Marcus. Marcus Smart. I ain't going to call you no more. No more name calling Marcus Smart. I don't want that the West Brick smoke. I don't want that from Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, total assists, 5.5 from against the Heat. I'm going to go under with that one as well. This is a team that defends the perimeter well, and I think that the ball movement for the Celtics doesn't always come from Marcus Smart. So let's go under on the assists. 5.5 is a high total for him.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown, total rebounds, sitting at 5.5.
Go over. I just think Jaylen Brown is going to have a huge series.
He's due.
I think Tatum, he's going to be crashing the boards. He'll be able to get 6 rebounds, I think, in this one.
Jaylen Brown is due for a really big game. 6 rebounds, 6 or 7. Al Horford, not really known for his rebounding prowess as a big, but 6.5 rebounds against the Heat. Robert Williams has stepped up in a major way and been taking a lot of playing time. Bam Adebayo, obviously undersized big, but he's going to be down low as well. 6.5. Let's roll with the under.
Yes.
Al Horford.
Under, I like it.
All right, at least we're in agreement on that one. You know what I mean? Jimmy Butler. We didn't talk about points, but we're going to talk about steals. Defensively, Jimmy Butler, 1.5 steals. I kind of like the over in this one. I feel like he's going to get active defensively as well.
2 steals. I think Jimmy can make it happen. And
I'm
curious to see who he's guarding in this game, at least early on.
I ain't gonna lie. 1.5 seems like the casual take, right? And I normally like being a contrarian. I wish I had some numbers in front of me to back this up. I kind of want to flip to the under. I want to flip to the under. This is a pure gut call. This feels like a contrarian type move. Under 1.5 steals. Robert Williams, total blocks, 1.5. Time Lord. Time Lord is his nickname. I can see him getting out of one possession. One of those guys coming in there. Jimmy Butler comes in there, block, gets the rebound, goes right back up, block again from the Time Lord. We'll get it all in 2 minutes. 2 minutes of action from Robert Williams. Let's run it. So, guys, we're playing Daily Dozen. We decided on Boston total points over 109.5. Miami Heat total points over 100.5. Jayson Tatum double-doubles. Yes, he's going to get one. Bam Adebayo double-double. No, he's not going to get one. Kevin Love total points under 7.5. Brogdon total points over 14.5. Gabe Vincent total assists under 3.5. Marcus Smart total assists under 5.5. Jaylen Brown total rebounds over 5.5. Al Horford total rebounds under 6.5. Jimmy Butler under 1.5 steals. And Rob Williams over 1.5 blocks. If you want to play Daily Dozen like us, get on the app Champions Round. Download it today on the App Store or Google Play. Play Daily Dozen. If you don't want to play for money, play for free. Giving away $250 this week for free. Just being on top of the leaderboard. Get in there and get some free picks in. As always, I want to thank everybody who's watching the show today. It's been real. Appreciate my guy Nick for hopping on with me, talking shop here in the second half of this episode. And we got some fun playoff action tonight. You guys make sure to download the app, follow the page, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Justin Henry Show. Peace out.